Hello everyone, and thank you for taking time out of your day to join me. My name is Ashley Hernandez, and I'm the Health and Wellness Educator for Texas A&M AgriLife Extension of Bexar County. Today, I want to talk to you about something we can all relate to, balancing our busy lives. With work, family, trying to make time for self-care, and everything in between, it can be difficult to find balance. Today's Health Talk Express, Your Work, Your Life, Keeping a Healthy Balance, will help us explore work-life conflict and its impact on our lives. Amanda is the mother of twin boys. She is also a full-time scientist for a federal government agency. Amanda's story about work-life conflict is typical for many working mothers. Her testimony captures the struggles of employees who juggle work and life demands. This is Amanda's story. Having kids can be an identity crisis. For me, I was all in as a scientist and couldn't fathom how I would give up 1 ounce of that scientist part of myself. But then my boys were born at the same time. Yes, I have twins. Nothing has been or is ever going to be the same again. It took a long time, maybe 2 or 3 years, to accept the idea fully and get comfortable with my new duality as a scientist mom. It probably seems like it shouldn't have taken that long, but I was really sleep deprived, which brings me to my first point on how to balance being a new parent and yet keeping up with your career. Sleep deprivation is not something to take lightly, and it can have a big impact on your processing speed. There are days when you can do more and some when you can do less. This is probably universally true for all parents, moms and dads. For me, I found that the tired zombie days were a good time to do more mundane tasks like credit card logs, booking travel, trainings, and designing PowerPoint presentations. It's better and less frustrating to save things like crunching numbers or creative writing for days that you get enough sleep. I am also the queen of lists, says my husband. I keep weekly to-do lists of everything I need and want to accomplish at work, along with household chore lists, go to easy health meals, etc. I also enter to-dos in my calendar, so if something has a hard deadline, I get multiple reminders to see it coming. This helps me stay organized and on top of the little things. I also learned that whenever possible, it's good to get things done ahead, since you never know when you'll be home with a sick kid. Speaking of, teleworking is probably one of the most important benefits of my job, and probably has saved my career. As federal employees, we are very privileged to have this option. Early on, after returning from maternity leave, working from home allowed me to stay close to my young ones for a few days a week and transition back slowly to full-time weeks at work in my relatively new position as a scientist coordinator. Even now that they are in preschool, I appreciate this benefit on days when someone is sick, me included. Most of the time, I can still squeeze in half a day or spread my hours over a non-9 to 5 times and get what needs to be done. Lastly, one of the biggest changes I have made to maintain work-life balance was to reduce travel. Because of the additional strains on my family, as well as my stress and exhaustion levels, I am very careful about what I commit to, and I only attend a few long-distance meetings in person each year. I undoubtedly miss some opportunities, but for now, it is a really important way to keep up with a good daily grind, reach my personal goals, and keep everyone at home happy. How do you know your life is out of balance? Balancing work, personal, and family responsibilities may seem impossible. You may think that you have to choose one area of life to focus on. However, life consists of career, family, friends, health, leisure, community service, and many more areas. It is the sum of who you are. You cannot separate the parts that make up being you. Work can bring personal satisfaction, financial benefits, improve self-worth, and achievement. Striving for work-life balance may not be the end goal, but rather integrating and aligning these multiple life roles. In this talk, 3 work-life balance quotes will be shared to inspire you. After each quote, I'll give you a moment to reflect. Feel free to write down the statement as a message to encourage yourself. Work, love, and play are the great balance wheels of man's being. Orson said Martin. founder of Success Magazine. Are we truly able to achieve healthy balance between our work and life roles, or is it a myth? Most of us have work and personal life duties. Work can be for pay or volunteering. In all probability, these two main areas of life cannot be separated. That is why we experience work-life conflict. The clash between work and personal roles set a stage for negative outcomes, particularly in physical and mental health. The term work-life conflict refers to the instances in which workers find that their work obligations and non-work obligations must be fulfilled within the same time period. Work-life conflict has been called other names too, such as work-life balance, work-family conflict, and work-life fit. Of all of these terms, work-life conflict better describes this phenomenon because it's commonly used in the psychology field, and it describes the problem of conflict, rather than an ideal state of work-life balance. For this talk, work-life conflict will be described as the stress we experience in our life roles. Work-life balance are the ongoing lifestyle changes we make that help reduce the negative consequences of work-life conflict. Work-life conflict is also referred to as negative spillover. There are two domains of work-life conflict: work to life and life to work. Negative spillover can occur in both directions, with work-family conflict being the most common. Work and family roles are two important life areas for adults. Conflict between a person's multiple roles, such as a worker, parent, and spouse, are unavoidable. Also, the consequences for the person and employer are unavoidable. For example, if we have a family crisis that requires us to miss work, then our job duties may suffer, which spills over into our worker role. Do you find yourself letting work-life spill over into your personal life? If so, which of these examples fits you? Working longer hours than desired for extended days, weeks, and months? Logging more hours than needed in order to achieve organizational goals? Skipping personal commitments to fulfill work obligations? Or working during times that weren't planned for work? So some negative spillover is working while sick, failing to use allotted paid time off, taking vacation days but spending those days connected to work, and having non-work times interrupted by work communications. The time we spend at work is one piece of work-life conflict that we should consider when trying to find balance in our lives. There was a time when the boundaries between work and life were clear. Today, the lines are blurred because work is likely to invade your personal life, especially with technology. On average, U.S. employees in private, non-farm industry worked 34.4 weekly hours and overtime. Full-time employed persons in the U.S. averaged 8.5 hours of work time on the weekdays they worked, and 5.4 hours on the weekends they worked. Most of this time was spent working at the workplace rather than at the home. 7.9 hours compared to 2.9 hours. Technology innovations such as social media and 24/7 internet access make it difficult to turn work off. With an increasing global corporate culture and technological advances that allow us to stay connected to our work, our time has become stretched by job and life demands. In 2018, the U.S. averaged more annual hours worked per worker than other industrial nations such as Canada, Germany, and the United Kingdom. Current statistics show that on days employees worked, 82% of employed persons did some of all of their work at the workplace, and 24% did some or all of their work at home. Commuting to work adds time spent during the workday. If you include your daily commuting time, you may find that this may be an area that interferes with your family life. It can also be another source of stress if your travel involves rush hour traffic. In the U.S., the average one-way commute to work is 26 minutes. However, for larger metropolitan areas such as Atlanta, Chicago, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C., the travel time ranges from 31 to 38 minutes. Between 1948 and 2015, the proportion of women in the U.S. workforce has grown dramatically, from 28.6% to 46.8%. In 1948, there were 17,335,000 women working compared to 46,386,000 men. Fast forward to 2015 and these numbers have risen to 73,510,000 working women and 83,620,000 men. This growth in the proportion of women joining the labor force is due in part to the women's equality movement and in part to stagnating wages. This social shift has radically changed the landscape of family life. The traditional model where one spouse, the unpaid female, stays home and the other spouse, the male, is the worker, is now outdated. This old way of family life has been replaced with a new normal, where women are not shut out from the workforce. When comparing gender differences in time spent at work, employed men worked 34 minutes per day more than employed women. This difference partly reflects women's greater likelihood of working part-time. However, even among full-time workers, those usually working 35 hours or more per week, men worked more per day than women, 8.2 hours compared with 7.9 hours. These differences may be explained by the additional time women spend in household activities and childcare responsibilities. As part of this new mix of gender equality, shifting role expectations, and the scarcity of family time, many men and women are required to find new ways to balance their working lives with their family life. Working parents are faced with work-life challenges that strain family life. Households where parents are dual income earners have become less child-centered and more work-centered. The work-centered viewpoint focuses more on gaining self-worth from work roles rather than life roles. Society's expectations shape how men and women manage the boundary between work and family roles. Men tend to segment or compartmentalize work and family roles, where women integrate their roles. These differences are thought to stem from the social expectations regarding how men and women handle work and family responsibilities. Part of social norms is defining gender roles. Men are expected to see themselves as the provider or breadwinner. This ideal male myth places added pressure on men, potentially leading them to justify a time away from family as the price to pay for financial success. Working longer hours to achieve professional success oftentimes requires giving up family time or not being fully engaged while at home. The male's absence will likely put a heavier workload on the spouse caring for children at home, including managing a household activities. Employed women rarely see themselves as working for the family, the way men do. They tend to focus on how important it is for their children, particularly their daughters, to see them as competent professionals. Another social viewpoint is that women are expected to identify more with the family role, which means spending more time engaging in the household activities. Juggling work and childcare responsibilities is a source work-life conflict for working parents. Social role expectations create conflict for working men and women. Spending more time with family is a challenge working parents share, and for women, the guilt about mothering can lead to more personal strain and shame. Adults living in households with children under the age of 6 spent on average of 2.1 hours per day providing primary child care, and households where the youngest child was between the ages of 6 and 17, adults spent less than half as much time providing primary child care to household children, 50 minutes per day. The time demands for child care are greater for women. Role expectations create different types of work-family conflict for men and women. Women typically devote more time to household work and child care responsibilities, which results in less personal time and more stress. On an average day, women with children under age 6 spend 1.1 hours providing physical care, such as bathing or feeding the child. By contrast, men spent 26 minutes providing physical care. When considering household work, on an average day, women spent 2.6 hours on these activities while men spent 2 hours. Support from your employer may be needed to address work-life conflict. Most work sites strive to create a healthy work culture by assisting employees with family life matters. While work-life policies vary greatly across the U.S. work sites, most offer some type of family-friendly policy. Family-friendly policies may include family leave for childbirth, parenting or caring for ill or elderly relatives, dependent care benefits including child care, flexible work arrangements, such as job sharing, part-time work, or flexible hours or days. There are other informal policies, such as when a supervisor allows an employee to leave early to take a child to a doctor's appointment. If these types of work site supports are needed, check with your human resources department and see what they can do for you. Stressful situations that happen when our work and family responsibilities collide will eventually impact our physical and mental health. Researchers have found that high job demands raise the odds of having a physical diagnosed illness by 35%, and that long hours increase death by almost 20%. The stress and strain that comes from work-life conflict impacts our well-being in two ways. First, work-life conflict drains our psychological and physical resources that could be devoted to improving health and well-being. The stress and strain lower emotional and behavioral resources that result in making negative health choices, such as engaging in less physical activity and eating fewer healthy foods. Second, work-life conflict affects our ability to cope. Job stress has been found to be related to negative coping behaviors that include alcohol and tobacco use and abuse. Examples of physical health problems related to work-life problems include high blood pressure, obesity, high cholesterol, and lower physical energy. Mental health problems include emotional exhaustion, mood disorders, such as depression and anxiety, substance abuse, alcohol, drug abuse, or dependence, and poor sleep and sleep habits. Relationships at home and work are also impacted if work-life conflict is left unresolved. This negative spillover affects employees' attitude, such as job satisfaction and organization commitment. Burnout is a long-term psychological consequence that comes from emotional exhaustion. In sum, work-life conflict is linked to negative health outcomes. Finding solutions to bring more work-life balance is good for your total well-being. Taking a vacation is a way to unplug from work and give your mental health a break. Xerox corporate CEO Annie McCaw stated, "Business needs to be 24/7. Individuals don't." Yet, many American workers forego paid time off because they feel that they can't afford to miss work. Research shows that a little over half of American workers are not using vacation time. Changing the organizational culture to encourage employees to take their paid time off can help nudge employees to take their needed time off. Some encouraging news is that between 2015 and 2017, there has been a downward trend among workers reporting that they have not used their earned vacation or paid time off, 55% to 52%. This finding was reported in the 2018 U.S. Travel Association's national survey of 4,349 American workers who received paid time off. While the 3-year reduction seems small, this equates to 705 million unused days. Workers who forfeit their vacation impact the U.S. economy. These unused days represent $255 billion opportunity that the American economy is not capturing. Had Americans used the vacation time, the activity could have generated 1.9 million jobs. Lost positions, such as those in the travel and tourism industry, help boost the U.S. economy. Also, there is a negative spillover in work-life conflict when workers don't take needed time off to relax and recharge. Work-related challenges may explain why employees don't use their vacation time or paid time off. Results from the 2018 U.S. Travel Association's national survey showed that workers with unused leave time were less likely to take vacation for the following reasons. Fear that they would appear less dedicated or even replaceable if they took vacation time. Concerned that their workload was too heavy to get away. Felt there was a lack of work coverage or that no one else could do their job. Aside from work conflicts, there are other personal reasons why workers reported not using their vacation time. Because of pets, logistical hassles of traveling, security and safety concerns of traveling, cost of traveling, or having a child, and being away from regular routine. These reasons may further explain why Americans experience work-life conflict, especially when they don't take time to relax and have a break from the daily grind of work. Finding ways to use vacation time may be as simple as a staycation and just being at home. Work-life balance is a term used loosely and often incorrectly. A better definition is making changes to the time spent doing your job compared with the time spent with your family in order to allow time to do the things you enjoy. Work-life balance translates to satisfaction in one's entire life, professional and personal, and it can be reached even while working long hours. 3 things to keep in mind about work-life balance. Work-life balance does not mean an equal balance. Trying to schedule an equal number of hours for each of your various work and personal activities is usually unrewarded and unrealistic. Life is and should be more fluid than that. Your best individual work-life balance will vary over time. Often on a daily basis, the right balance for you will probably be different for you tomorrow. The right balance for you when you were single will be different when you marry, or if you have children. Also, when starting a new career versus when you're nearing retirement. There are no perfect one-size-fits-all balance you should strive for. The best work-life balance is different for each of us because we all have different priorities and different lives. It can be difficult to get the right work-life balance. Experts say success lies not only in carefully defining how you want to spend your time, but in making sure you adjust your life and work as your needs change. Sometimes, even small changes can make a difference. Work-life conflict is a daily challenge. Your day may begin with minimal hassles. This can all change when a coworker disagreement happens or you miss a scheduled phone meeting by not putting it in your calendar. These annoyances may spill over into your personal life when you take your frustrations home. You can bring balance into your life when you set priorities and decide to turn off work and focus on what matters most, the time with family and taking time to relax. Work-life roles are not necessarily separate, but can coexist with the right balance. There are 3 truths that can help you put work-life balance into focus for your life. Life happens. Even if you are a very dedicated employee, you may have your work priorities upended when a personal crisis happens, such as a sudden illness or death in the family. People tend to ignore work-life balance until something bad happens. That disregard is a choice, but not a wise one. It is important to maintain a healthy work-life balance as part of your well-being routine. 2. Define your path to success. In your quest for the right work-life balance, reflect on what personal and professional success means for you. At the core of work-life balance is seeking success through personal fulfillment and purpose in life, especially in your work and family roles. This will help you prioritize responsibilities, allowing you to put your time and energy into what matters most to you. The road to success is different for each of us. Work success may be sticking with one company for your entire career, while another person may want to frequently change with employers to gain new job experiences. In family life, success may be staying connected with your children's lives and attending their school activities. Defining what success means to you will give you a clearer understanding of what you value as important in life. This will help you when disruptions occur in your work and life roles that temporarily take you off course. And number 3, no one can do it alone. Of the many paths of success, none can be walked alone. A support network is critical, both at and outside work. Family and friends are needed when we face difficult decisions, and they help keep us accountable to make the right choices. With this presentation, I have uploaded a worksheet for you. It's called Take Action 3-Step Plan for Work-Life Balance. There are 3 steps inside of this, quick and easy, and they kind of help you reflect to figure out what's important for yourself. The purpose of this activity is to develop a work-life balance strategy that fits your life. This activity helps you choose at least one work-life balance solution that you can set as your personal goal. After this talk, your action step will be to adopt the work-life balance strategy. Let's review the handout. So step 1, you're going to take a 3-question quiz to assess your work-life balance. You're going to score the survey, and points will range from 3 to 15, with the highest score showing the most conflict. Step 2, you're going to reflect and respond to the question, what will I do differently? Step 3, choose one strategy for your work-life balance goal. Self-evaluation is critical when making health decisions. Oftentimes, these choices are influenced by what we believe is supportive of what we value as important to our lives and those we love. Choosing to pursue harmony in work and life roles is the first step to achieving this goal. A key to achieving work balance is to set boundaries and adopt lifestyle practices that establish a happy medium. As you consider your decision to practice the 3-step plan for work-life balance, reflect upon any possible barriers to making lifestyle changes. Adopting these lifestyle strategies is empowering, and the advantages are finding balance through prioritizing eliminates the constant need to trade off between work and family. It removes the guilt one often feels when given attention to one task over another. How many of you have ever felt as though you were missing out on something in your personal life by giving extra attention to work? I know I have. Or vice versa. Establishing balance eliminates the feeling of missing out. After all, the guilt and regret you may often feel only adds to the already existing stress. Work-life balance also serves to improve overall health and well-being. Workplace stress has both a direct effect on health and is also induced unhealthy choices and behaviors, ranging from alcohol abuse, smoking, and drug consumption, even to suicide. We need to do a better job of putting ourselves higher on our own to-do list. Michelle Obama. I'd like you to write this down so that way you can use it as an encouraging quote. Achieving balance in life is not out of your reach. The difficulty in being disciplined to adopt strategies that help you lower stress caused by work-life conflict. Earlier, we discussed the 3 truths. Life happens, define success for yourself, and don't do it alone. These principles will serve as a guide to set a work-life balance goal. This will help you set priorities in your work and life roles that align with your plan for success. Also, you will experience a greater sense of control and personal satisfaction, especially when your work and life problems collide. When you are maintaining a work-life balance that is right for you, you will improve your mental well-being. You may find that you have a better outlook on your work and personal life, so that you feel more in control. In addition to your physical well-being, creating boundaries between your work life and your personal life allows you to be more productive in both areas. Happy people tend to work hard. Well-defined limitations can improve performance. We have discussed the advantages. You may think it can't be that easy, otherwise everyone would be doing it. But the reality is that this is a very real struggle for most people. Like with any decision, it is important to consider that very real barriers may exist. The key to overcoming these barriers is to recognize them and being intentional about not allowing them to prevent you from leading a healthy, balanced life. You will realize that it takes discipline to change old habits. Fortunately, this discipline can be learned and practiced over time. Seeking balance will require you to be more reflective about your priorities. But in the end, you will feel less stressed by your work and life roles. Train your brain to switch off negative thinking. Not feeling supported at home or work may also keep you from putting into practice a work-life balance plan of action. You may find it helpful to discuss with family members or work colleagues the value of work-life balance. Sharing this handout might be useful to reinforce key points and what you learned today. Never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Dolly Parton. This quote captures the true meaning of maintaining work-life balance, making our personal life priority. The busyness of work may cause our professional life to suffer. The key is finding the right balance. Make it your personal pledge to put into practice the 3-step plan to maintain work-life balance. This activity is a practical way to apply what you learned today about work-life conflict and work-life balance. After assessing your work-life conflict, you will likely have a better understanding of targeted areas where you need to refocus your work and personal roles. For example, you have identified that you are working later in the evening, which makes it difficult to prepare a healthy meal at dinner time. Time management strategies, such as making a to-do list of tasks and prioritizing, can actually be a possible solution for this. Remember the 3 truths about work-life conflict. Life happens. Expect that things don't always go as planned. This reality should free you from self-blame game. This thinking adds stress and affects those around you. Define your path to success. Life choices are guided by what you believe will give you the best outcome, both at work and at home. These decisions don't happen by chance. You need to assess what you want out of life and have a plan for success. Don't go at it alone. We all need support from family, your spouse, work colleagues, and a network of friends. They are the ones who will be cheering you on and encouraging you on your path to personal and work success. Because work-life balance is critical to controlling stress, we encourage you to share this resource with work friends, family members, because the information will also benefit them. Choosing to adopt a healthy lifestyle habit is a win-win for you and your family. Your first step is to take action today. I want to thank you for joining me today for our Health Talk Express. I hope this gave you a lot of information and will help you to learn how to balance more. You're not alone. This is a problem we all have, especially right now with COVID-19. A lot of us got thrown into having to work from home, homeschooling children. Life changed really fast. So it's hard whenever we have these dramatic changes. My hope is that this will help you to learn how to balance. For any questions, resources, or more information, please feel free to email me. My email address is here on the last slide. I also encourage you to check out our Bexar County AgriLife Facebook. We have a lot of information when it comes to health, wellness, and also COVID-19. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope you stay safe and stay healthy.